Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CARTERMATT.com.
This is your NCIS Season 17, Episode 3 reaction with Coco Vanderwolf here for assistance. And I feel like it could be called a couple of different things. Number one, I let Ziva win.
I let Ziva win. Definitely a good joke that was going on throughout the episode. I very much appreciated.
Number two, what's going on here with Gibbs and Sloane?
It's happening.
Okay. There's a lot to go in here. I don't want to give away the entire game of everything we're going to talk about here. We'll talk about it as we go through and discuss everything, including Ziva's continued presence. Even though she's not actually physically there, she still has a role. But before we do anything else, if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Every Tuesday, we are here to discuss NCIS. I don't want you guys to miss any of that. But where do you want to start today? Do you want to start with Ziva, or do you want to start with the Slibbs avalanche that's kind of going on?
We need to just get on the Slibbs street here and talk about this, because what felt like was revealed was, again, another huge bomb. And this is just me reading into what was let out in this episode about Christmas. Everybody sees them together, Sloane and Gibbs, and that this is a thing, and everybody already thinks that they hooked up and that they've been hooking up since Christmas, or something's been going on since Christmas. That Christmas episode, I absolutely is when I felt that something was happening. That hug on the street and the kiss, like on the head and the face and stuff, that felt really intimate. I don't touch my friends like that. And my friends don't touch me like that. And my coworkers, well, they can touch me like that, but that's just because it's just mad.
Different situation.
Okay, if I was at a different job, they don't touch me like that. But it was so intimate and felt very intimate, like they were hooking up at Christmas time. So it doesn't feel like necessarily it's been an ongoing thing, but it feels like they hooked up at Christmas. And after seeing Gibbs bring in that new painting with the elephant saying Merry Christmas, they hooked up at Christmas.
Okay.
That happened. It happened.
Okay. I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
We're not talking
I'm
anymore.
not saying I fully disagree with your idea, but I think it's good to have a counterpoint on a hot take like this. It's good to have somebody come in with a bag of ice and just like cool things off a little.
Now we're not hooking up anymore.
All right. This is not that serious. Okay. So here's an alternate point of view on this. So I think it's clear that they have chemistry. And I think it's clear that there is an affection that is here. And it is also clear that NCIS does have a tendency, i.e. Tony and Ziva, to show a couple of characters who actually have a lot more going on than what we necessarily see on camera. Like, they're very sort of careful at giving us a sense that these people have real, fleshed out lives. And NCIS itself as a show is sort of just like taking a little percentage of that, and they have a lot of other stuff going down behind the scenes. But at the same time, there was also the moment last season where Sloane was talking a lot about how there was somebody who she wanted to sort of have open up with her a little bit more. And that to me felt a little bit like she wasn't there yet. Like, you know, that maybe she was running towards the finish line, but she was kind of reaching out for it, and then a bunch of people got in the way and was like, you shall not pass, like Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. And
I'm going to pour ice on your theory now, because what I took from her, from what she was saying last season, is she wants someone to open up a little bit more. What I was saying was that I don't think that they're in a full-blown relationship. I think they hooked up. And that's what I think happened. And then since then, maybe here or there, but probably not at all. I think when she was saying that she wants more, she wants an actual relationship with him, but because she was saying she wants a relationship with someone who isn't very open. Gibbs is obviously clearly not open to much more, so could they hook up and then nothing else happened? Yeah, so does she want to be able to talk about her feelings and she wants more of an emotional connection? Yes. Is she going to get that from Gibbs? We don't know. There's an elephant on her wall.
Hold on. I got to go to the North Pole. I got to get some more ice.
Oh my God.
This metaphor is going to go all around the world in this video. I think a lot of what you're saying is valid.
It's true.
But there's also this idea. It's true. Sloane is not technically, she doesn't work under Gibbs. No. But they're part of the same office.
Yes.
I don't know, last Christmas, this was pre the events of She, this was pre Gibbs kind of going a little bit haywire with this perception of the rules. Is he going to play fast and loose with the idea of the rules? Because it feels like it's kind of like a rule gray area. It doesn't feel like it's necessarily like a clear-cut violation of some of Gibbs's issues, but he's also said don't date a coworker.
He wouldn't be dating her if he just hooked up with her and afterwards was like, listen, this was great, but this should not have happened. I have this rule, and I need to stick to this rule. So as much as this was a good time, and I like you, and we're friends, it needs to just be this. What, Gibbs can't ever just fall off a rule and veer off into something? He's made cases personal in the past. Now he's burned up that rule. He has his rules, but he has stepped over his rules, and he may have stepped over this rule with Sloane and then was like, okay, I need to get some sort of semblance of reality back. I need my rules back. My rules ground me. So okay, this happened, how do I go back to the way that I was? And we saw in the whole last half of that season that he was not able to go back to who he was. All the Ziva stuff came in. He burnt his rule. He's talking to the doctor about, the retirement and what happened with his family and all these other things that are telling him that he's not really stable with his rules like he thought he was. And all of that was last year.
Here's what I think we should do.
Pour ice on yourself.
I'm not pouring any ice on myself. I don't even know if we have any ice, but I guess you do have a little bit of ice. That would make for a very different sort of video. But I think really Gibbs is a dude who goes to the same restaurant every day with the paper and all this other sort of stuff. I think ultimately, let us know in the comments. Are you team hookup or are you team no hookup? Or are you team, I want them to hook up?
Okay, well, what do you think? You never actually said. I know you play devil's advocate, but do you actually think that they did not hook up at Christmas after everything you just saw?
I don't think they hooked up.
What do you think happened?
I think that they had some moments. I think that they probably had something more beyond what was shown, but I don't think.
What does that mean? Kissing, making out, hooking up?
I think maybe they shared a kiss or two. I don't think it went necessarily beyond that. It's I think what they may have had was just a more serious version of you have the office Christmas party, things get a little bit out of hand. I think they had much more of an intimate moment than that, but I think because this is Gibbs, I think Gibbs probably reverted back, and then that would sort of explain Sloane's frustrations as to why he wasn't opening up, because they did share this little moment, and it could have been more. I think you are correct that something happened.
Something happened.
I think it's always more fun to have the devil's advocate, but I can't get fully on the opposite side of the coin here either. So there's a lot of different stuff to juggle here, but give us your thoughts. I feel like there are going to be a lot of opinions about this.
Tell me that you also think that something happened and they hooked up. In the comments below, let me know. Did they hook up? They did.
Also,
Merry Christmas!
Christmas is taking on a very different meaning on this show now. I will never look at a Christmas episode the same way.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
I don't know if this is the perfect holiday for them, by the way, because I feel like it should be Easter, because the snow will be melted, and then Gibbs can take her out on the boat on one of his mini boats that he's built,
yeah,
and
but
they
it was
can sort
all
of
Christmas and snowy, and they're in his place, and stuff happened at the Christmas tree.
Well, let's just talk about this in this way. Do we actually like the idea of Gibbs and Sloane?
Yeah, I'm sailing on the ship. I've been sailing on the ship for a while. I know that Mark and Maria are friends in real life, so there's a friendship chemistry there already, so it makes their acting a lot easier because there's already just a friendship there. So that's cool, and you can feel it. I can feel it. You know, there's just a natural friendship. So it helps. Then moving into this pretend relationship on the show, it just makes it a little bit easier when you're already buddies.
Yeah, I like it too because it's not something, I mean, it's not like we've never seen Gibbs in a romantic relationship on NCIS ever.
Just not at work.
Not at work in this sort of way. Yeah, not in this particular sense with a character who is like Sloane, and I think that does sort of offer up some different dynamics in order for this show to explore, to actually evolve this character. And I think Sloane is a good person to evolve it with because she's very emotive and she's sort of like the anti-Gibbs. So you've got sort of like, fittingly, hot and cold, fire and ice coming together. And now we've also used Game of Thrones reference. Okay, let's talk.
Well, I just like that they're moving Gibbs in a different direction as far as growing in a different way. The show has been on for many years. We're coming up on episode 400 next year. It's incredible. So to have a character like Gibbs, who's very steadfast in his rules and everything has got to be exactly the same, go to the same diner every morning, eat the same thing, read the same paper. You know, it's been a long time. It would be nice to see some growth with this character, and it's happening. It happened last season a lot. There was a lot of stuff that he's facing about himself, and it's happening even more now with the Ziva effect. So let's talk about that.
All right. As we now embark on our latest journey into Ziva Town, it's kind of weird because Ziva's sort of out of town at the moment, and they could have offered up a little bit more as to like what Ziva's really kind of up to at this particular moment. They just sort of like, all right, she's gone. We're just sweeping her under the rug for now, and we're going to talk a little bit about kind of our feelings in it, but we know that Ziva is coming back.
She's coming back.
There's just questions as to like the mechanics, how it's going to work, all that sort of stuff.
And why she's coming back.
Yeah, and I think what they did in this episode, they at least kind of attached some humor to it. Because, you know, case-wise, there's not as much to talk about in this video because it was sort of the typical NCIS case of the week.
Yep.
Except with garden gnomes, which I feel like CBS loves garden gnomes. In between this and like the Travelocity gnome that they throw on The Amazing Race all the time, it's like CBS, the official network of garden gnomes everywhere. But we have Ziva conversations that are happening. We get to see kind of how McGee and Bishop and how Torres is feeling about Ziva on the other side of all of it. Did you like how they kind of weaved all this in?
I did, and it was good to see the emotions that were coming out of McGee and Bishop, because they both had more of a relationship with her in that, you know, Bishop was the first person that had the letter, so she felt a connection. She was harboring this secret from everybody else, and McGee, of course, had an actual relationship with her. And Torres was kind of just left in the dark, so his first interaction with her was getting his you-know-what kicked all over the yard and then trying to rewrite history in his mind that he let Ziva win, which is obviously not the case. But it was interesting that he almost admitted what it was that Ziva said to Sloane in the elevator.
Yeah.
It almost came out. She almost got him.
Yeah, it's true. I like what NCIS is doing right now in terms of subtlety, where they give you like these little moments that don't necessarily turn into anything right away.
Yep.
But you kind of know that it's going to turn into something, kind of like, you know, the Casey comment about Bishop and Torres.
Yep.
The end of last season, like all this stuff. It's going to come right back around at some point in the future.
Well, the thing that I'm finding the most interesting about it, just in general, is that it seems to only be landing on Torres. This hasn't really landed on Bishop. Nobody's really coming to her and being like, so, you and Nick, eh? Nobody's really done that. But there's now been two people that have come to talk to him about it. So either she's not interested or she's hiding it a lot better.
I think she's probably hiding it a lot better. I feel like there's probably a perception that, like, because Torres is so reactive in a lot of ways and maybe a way that Bishop isn't, that maybe they think that he's going to be the one who will be more likely to sort of open up, and maybe because Bishop is a little bit more socially quirky, she may have a harder time sort of getting to that particular place.
Or maybe she's just not giving off the same sort of vibes in front of people because she is a little more quirky, and sometimes it's hard to weed through that as an observer. But he's a little bit easier to see that stuff because maybe he's being just a little bit more obvious.
Maybe. And I think we can all collectively agree on this. I Let Ziva Win is by far the greatest line of NCIS so far this season.
Absolutely.
This is why having Wilmer Valderrama on your show, post that 70 show, is a great thing, because his timing is so good.
His timing is so good, and it was so good on 70 show. It's so good here. I really love him.
Yeah, I think what really made it work for me was he would just be talking randomly, and there wouldn't really be a pause. He would just throw "I Let Ziva Win" at the end of like a sentence or a phrase or something, and I wouldn't see it coming, and it would just make me crack up. And there's not a lot of times on NCIS per episode where you get to like openly laugh about.
Have a laugh. And there was a couple this episode, and it was that line every time.
It really was, but there will be more Ziva stuff coming. I feel like we'll talk a little bit about her in the preview as well for episode 4, so stick around for that. And I want to know from you guys, what did you think about Sloane, Gibbs,
Christmas, the hookup,
or the no hookup,
or the no hookup,
or the will they hook up? No matter, let us know your theories in the comments, and also give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the CARTERMATT store, and we'll see you here next time